Hello guys, David here. Hope you're doing well. I'm going to do a nice short podcast for you today. I'm going to answer a specific question that I got on breathing work. I'm going to do some more of these short podcasts, I think. I think it's nice to break it up in between guests where I just do a shortish podcast talking about a topic or answering a question, and I'm not going to put a time limit on myself saying it has to be 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 7 minutes. I'm just going to try and keep it relatively short but still give myself enough time to actually articulate my thought in a relatively coherent way. All right. So I think these will be quite good. So the question I got was from Marco, who's a coach, and he said, when doing breathing work, are you trying to keep the inhale as small as possible and focus on a full complete exhale? This is how I have been coaching my clients. So good question, Marco. The answer for me is no. I'm not trying to keep the inhale as small as possible. Now, look, the real answer is it depends, but the answer almost all of the time is no. I'm not trying to keep the inhale as small as possible, and I'm not necessarily trying to focus on a full complete exhale all the time either, or a lot of the time either. So what you need to think about with the breathing work is what you're ultimately trying to do is just bring variability back into the system. Okay. Now, there's a lot of systems in the human body. So we can't. So when you do breathing work and you get a positive change, maybe with someone, if you get a positive change, you can't definitively say this is what changed it. There's so many systems. The reason you do breathing work in the first place is because it actually has the ability to affect every system in the human body. And so you're taking out the big guns really, and you're able to, with very little effort, you're able to bring about some pretty large change into someone's system and into someone's body relatively easily, a lot of the time, not all of the time. Okay. So what you're trying to do is bring about that variability, and there's just so many systems at play that we can't definitively say this is the thing. I got expansion into this exact part of the body, and that is the thing that yielded the positive result. We can't definitively say that. We need to be careful with that. But the more you see it happening, the more you learn about this stuff, the more clients you see, the more you learn to identify the best position to put them in, and the more you learn to coach breathing in the way that they need to get the air out and to get the air in, and the more positive results and benefits you see from doing that really well, then you start to think, okay, here is why I think this is having a positive benefit. And for me, the big positive benefit of the breathing work is that we are getting expansion into compressed places, and that is giving the body an opportunity to move into places it hasn't moved before. Okay, so that variability is so important, and to get that to happen, actually, what I'm going to say is the inhalation is actually the fix. The inhalation is the money. The inhalation is where the gold lies. The inhalation is the thing you need to focus on. Okay, not focus on, but the inhalation is, without that, you won't have nearly as much benefits if you don't do a really good inhalation. Okay, so it's all about the inhalation. All right, everything you're doing with your breathing work, position wise, coaching wise, all any references that you use, a reach, a load, all of that is for inhalation. All of that is to get the air to come in, airflow to come in and expand a compressed place. Now, when I say inhale is the fix, I need to be careful. I'm using that word loosely because, like I said a second ago, the fix could be like any of these systems are experiencing something and changing it, right? So I need to be careful with that word fix, but I'm using it, but I'm using that word loosely, so don't crucify me about that. Okay. So if the inhalation is the fix, then I don't want the inhalation to be small. I want it to be relatively big. I want it to be relatively full. It can be relatively full after a full complete exhalation, but if that full complete exhalation is like done with a ton of tension, a ton of compression, a ton of like bracing, and in the position that is maybe not suited for this person, then that inhale is like a compensatory inhale straight away. You're going to see people's neck and like just you're going to see them tense up a lot as they inhale. You'll even be able to hear that it's either a sniff or it's like, I don't know what that was a grunt. It's just not smooth. It doesn't sound like it's coming smoothly in through the nose. So the inhale needs to be coming in smoothly and completely and slowly. Like, you want time under tension on your inhale. You want it to start to creep in and fill up these compressed places. If you focus on a full complete exhale and a small inhale, you're not getting that. If you focus on a like really hard bracing exhale, which I've done in the past and other people have done, and a lot of other people are still doing, I've made that mistake. I don't recommend it. That you need to take your mindset away from that. It's all about getting the air out and getting the ribs to close at the front. You just want to get the air out, and you might want the ribs to close a little bit, but you want to just get the air out of the lungs using the least amount of tension possible. So now I can put the air back in, and that can open up the compressed space, and that inhale is the fix. Okay, so what you can think about is if you see someone who, so basically I'm judging the breathing work that I do with a client on how well they can inhale. If I do an exhale and their inhale after that is compromised, that exhale was too hard and maybe too long and too full. So I'll bring it all the way back if I need to, where they literally just do a short, relaxed exhale out of their nose, a pause, and then a nice relaxed inhale, and it comes to an end. There's no extending either of those things. Okay, so you have to understand that even that is probably more extended and a little bit better than what they have been doing, which is maybe more of this kind of a thing. Okay, so like just extending that exhale out of the nose gently, having a gentle pause and then a gentle inhale is a little bit better than what they had been doing. If you think about like someone squatting, I wouldn't go from they had never squatted to putting a heavy barbell on their back and destroying them and trying to get the most out of it possible. But that's often what we do with the breathing work. We go from, okay, you've never done, like, you're obviously breathing all your life, but you've never done breathing work where you're trying to extend this stuff and get more out of it. But yet I go like, okay, exhale for 15 seconds on your first set, pause for 5 seconds, and then inhale for 10 seconds or whatever on your very first set. You don't need to throw them into the deep end to get the benefits. You need to just nudge them forward a little bit. So I can guarantee you, if you start someone off with that really strong, full, complete exhalation, then you're going to struggle to get that really nice inhale, and that inhale is the fix. So start them off maybe with a nasal exhale, a pause, and a nasal inhale. Then if you want to, and you probably want to get more air out, so there's more room for that expansion, then you can start to increase the exhalation. But my rule is you only increase the exhalation for as long as it doesn't compromise the inhale. So if they can get more and more and more air out, but the following inhale doesn't sound as smooth as it was before, and it doesn't look as good where like you actually see the expansion, then you have exhaled too much, and you've started to cause this compression that's getting in the way, and there's interference with that inhale. Okay, no good, absolutely no good. So only exhale as much. Even then, you can start to just creep that exhale a little bit longer and a little bit longer and a little bit longer. You might want to do a fogging up a mirror exhale, but even with the fogging up of a mirror exhale, this stuff needs to be coached, because still with that exhale, even though it's soft, a lot of people, it will sound sharp at the very start of the exhale. It will sound like this kind of sharp at the start of the exhale. That is no good. It needs to be as smooth at the end as it is at the start. So you would like it to be, so it has that smoothness throughout. Some people will struggle to kind of brace and squeeze the abs and squeeze the rectus abdominis and use their neck and all this stuff with that type of an exhale, okay? So that exhale is then setting us up for a nice relaxed pause, and then a nice... Actually, that didn't sound so good. It was like a flicker of maybe a bit of a snot. Apologies. I'm going to say that anyways. Yeah. So that inhale needs to be real smooth. It should sound like it's like coming in and there's no restriction coming in through the airway. That's what you want it to sound like. So the inhale is the fix, Marco. I would say I would completely flip it on its head what you said, which was, should I focus on making a full complete exhale and the inhale as small as possible? I would say focus on keeping the exhale as small as you need to, that you can get a full complete inhale that doesn't look like it's a compensatory inhale or sound like it's a compensatory inhale, not email. So the inhale shouldn't be a sniff, and it shouldn't look like the neck is involved, and it shouldn't look like the air, like the ribs like fly open or anything like that. You should slowly start to see this expansion coming into the thorax. So answer the shortest, most relaxed exhale you can do that allows you to get the most air out eventually. But it's all about how much air I can get in. I actually want not the biggest inhale possible, but a nice full complete inhale. But it needs time under tension. The smoothness is what you're looking for. So I hope that helps, Marco. Please let me know, or everyone, please let me know if you have any questions. And then finally, don't forget to sign up for DGR Interactive. We still have our DGR podcast sale, so type in the code DGR podcast for 20% off. And here's an example of a couple of the videos I put up last week. I put up a video on hip internal rotation. This was actually part 2, 12-minute video. I looked at closed chain hip internal rotation, and I looked at pelvic movement in dynamic movement, so not just pelvic movement lying on the bed, but pelvic movement actually in gait, in walking and running and things like that. So that was our hip internal rotation video. I did a bonus video on heel roundedness, which is probably not the best title, but it is, when you watch the video you'll understand. Heel roundness and Achilles issues. So a little video example of a foot moving and how looking at that heel, you can see maybe why there's some Achilles issues there. Actually, no, you can't see that. You can, like, once the Achilles issues are present, then you can see this roundness, and you can see, okay, if I want to change the Achilles issue, I need to change that roundness. And then there was one other video on internal rotation as a downforce. So there was actually 3 videos that week. That was 11 minutes. The heel one was 9 minutes, and the internal rotation hip one was 12 minutes. So short, sharp videos for you to get way, way smarter. So use the code DGR podcast, and I am out of here. I hope you enjoyed.